Peace be upon you, friends. With you is your friend Darum. I ask you to support the channel by subscribing, liking, and posting motivating comments and an enjoyable viewing experience for you. I stood up in horror and said, "Sit down, son. I will not harm you." I sat with my eyes on him and did not leave him for a second. And after a few minutes of silence between us, the man started talking to me and told me that he was Salem's friend. He also told me the story that Yund told me, but he added some additions that Yund was unaware of, such as that he tried after Salem's death. He wanted to go to Maza and kill him, but the guards around him were too numerous for him to confront them all alone, so he resolved to recruit someone who shared his goal of killing Maza from among the liberal peers and dissenters from the tribes revolting against Maza. During those years, Malus gathered a group that was okay. It has peers and demons, but they are still too weak to wage a battle against Maza and his tribe. I was silent for a while after Malus spoke to me. Then I said, "What is my relationship with Dajan and the matter?" He said, "After the killing of San at my hands, Maza will now be focused on avenging his son, and protecting you will be his last concern, and the Al-Abataha and Sawarim tribes have determined to kill you in the coming days, and Maza and his tribe will not fight a losing war because of Yes, and you and Jen will be killed in moments." I said, "What do you want me to do?" He said, "Help me break the thorn." Maza. So I said, "How? I am just a weak human, and I am not as strong as you." He said, "He enabled me to kill a soldier. Thus, Maza will collapse, and we will be able to attack him while he was shocked by the killing of his daughter, just one day after his son was killed." I said, "Impossible. I will not help you kill Jund." He shouted at me and said, "Are you now defending demons? Or have you fallen in love with Maza's daughter?" I said, "Neither this nor that, but I do not want to participate in killing anyone, even if he is a devil." He said, "You participated in the killing of Amar by helping, dying." So I said to him in a loud voice, "He deceived me, and if I had known his intention, I would not have helped him." He said, "Don't raise your voice at me, blogger." So he remained silent. After a few seconds, Malus resumed talking to me and said, "Do you know that Dajan killed Amar on my orders?" I said, "What? By your order?" He said, "Yes. Dajan is a rebellious companion like me and wants revenge on Jasar. Because of what had happened between them in the past, it was easy to recruit him." I said, "I refuse to let you recruit me, and if you want to kill me, do so." Malus was silent for a while after he saw that I was determined not to participate in the killing Jund. Then he said, "I will not kill you, but the Yaram tribe and their allies will do it for me." So I said, "So be it. This is not a reason for me to kill Yund or anyone else." Malus was silent again and then said, "Well, we will not kill Yund, but if you want to protect me and those with me, you must participate with us in the confrontation with Maza." So I said, "How can I contribute to a confrontation between two demons?" He said, "Lend us your companion." So I said, "What? Read me." He said, "As I heard, I will free your companion to participate with us in the attack on Maza, and thus you will be one of us, and we will protect you." I said to him, "And if I refuse?" He said angrily, "We will throw you at the Alabataha tribe so that they can tear you and your companion apart, and do not think for a moment that I will not do it." At that moment, my eyes began to blink violently. So I put my hand over my eyes, and Malus said, smiling, "This is your partner. He is asking you to agree, as he is more afraid for himself than you are." I said with my hand still over my eyes, "I will agree on one condition." Malus said, "You do not have the right to set special conditions, since your need for us is greater than our need for you." I told him, "Without this condition, I will not agree, and I mean what I say." Malas looked at the ground for a few minutes as if he was thinking about my words. Then he said, "What is your condition? And remember that I am not obligated to implement it." I told him, "My condition is that you answer one question honestly without lying." He said, "Question? Oh, what's your question?" I said, "Since he's under your protection, he does not need protection from the Dunes. So why did he do everything he did to provide himself with protection from other tribes as long as he was under your protection?" Malas was silent as if he did not want to answer. Then he said, "Because he wanted to protect you." I said, "Me? Why does he want to protect me, since I am just a forgotten person, frozen in the past?" Malas said, as he was about to get up. "I don't know. Ask him. Give me your answer now, blogger. Are you with us?" I reluctantly agreed, because my options were non-existent, and Malas began reading the hieroglyphs for the liberation of the consort on me. So my consort appeared in front of me and was an identical copy of me, but he was missing one of his eyes. He smiled, then rushed towards me, hugged me by the neck, and said, "Thank you. I promise to atone for my sin in killing Yaran." I was very confused and surprised. I put my hand on his shoulder and said, "It's okay. Just try not to die." Malas left, and Karini followed him, and then Dajan came to me and said, "I still have to go with them?" I said, "Where to?" He said, "After your companion joined us, we were ready to attack Maza and his tribe." I said to him, "How many of you are there?" He said, 100 rebellious companions, a third of whom are believers and the rest are devils." I said, "And the Dunes tribe?" He said, 5,000 devils, half of them rebellious peers, and the rest are lower devils, in addition to Maza and his sons." I said to him, "Don't you think the balance is not in your interest?" He said, "We are not going to confront the entire tribe. We are going to attack Maza directly and strike him with one man." Malas created a precise plan for this attack. I said, "What if my kin was killed in this battle?" He said while smiling, "Don't be afraid. We told Ibn Salem that he will return your body to your family." Then John disappeared to follow them. Ibn Salem entered upon me after Dajan left to join Malas and his army, and I did not need to ask him anything because it seemed that he knew everything from the first moment he met me for the first time and took me to the cemetery. I sat with him in silence until dawn approached, and I asked him for a feather and an inkwell so I could write down the dawn whisperings. He said, "There is no need for that now, as the Dune tribe is busy with all its soldiers trying to rid Maz of Malas's advance, including its demons charged with whispering." I said to him, "What do you mean? Has the confrontation begun?" He said, "Yes. From the moment he caught up with the group, I said, 'What is the news?' He said, 'Many of us fell, but their victims were more.' I said, 'What about my kinsman? Did he die?' Ibn Salam laughed and said, 'How did he die while you are in front of me now?' Then I asked him about the white cloth that was in his hands and the reason for bringing it with him. And he said, 'This is your shroud. If your companion dies, you will fall here in front of me, and I must bury you immediately until the picture becomes clear.' I swallowed my saliva, which had dried up from fear, and continued to wait for the results of that confrontation. Ibn Salem closed his eyes and entered a state of latency. After an hour of silent waiting, Ibn Salem spoke with his eyes closed and said, "The battle turns against us. We lost many followers. Jassar and Yund are the last sons of Maza who have not fallen yet. Maza is surrounded by 1,000 demons, and Malas orders Dajan and your companion to advance toward him." I sat listening to these intermittent news, shaking and trembling, waiting for the moment when my horns would fall so that I could fall with them. Ibn Salem continued to mumble news of the battle until he said, Malas was injured, and Dajan was standing next to him to protect him, so my only reaction was to say, and tell me what happened to him. But Ibn Salem was not conscious enough to respond to me. Ibn Salem continued to narrate the events until he said a word that shook me and increased the terror that flooded my chest, as he said, the oppressors and their allies entered the battle when they learned that Kurainik was participating in it, and they ordered their devils to target him here. At that moment, I began to recite the Tashahhud and ask for forgiveness, and I was trembling with fear because I knew that the hour of departure from this world had come. In that state, I fainted and lost consciousness. I woke up at noon in the sitting room of Ibn Salam's house. The place was quiet and there was no trace of Ibn Salam in the sitting room. I only saw a shroud lying in front of me. After a short while, Salam's little granddaughter entered with some food and placed it in front of me and said with a smile, "Eat." Then she left. I started looking around the room for someone to tell me what happened, but I did not find anything. So I got up and did not eat the food that Salam's granddaughter had brought and went out of the house, but I did not find anyone either. I heard the noon call to prayer, which I had not heard for a long time, so I went to the mosque to pray in search of comfort. After the prayer ended, I started looking among the worshippers for Ibn Salam, but I did not find him. But I heard the Imam say, "Praying for the dead, may God have mercy on you." So I prayed with them and followed the funeral and asked one of the mourners about the name of the deceased, and he said, "She is Fatima, the daughter of Sheikh Salam. May God have mercy on him." So I stopped walking at the funeral until she moved away from me, and I did not know what to do. I was torn between returning to Salam's house, returning to Amr's house, or returning to my country. I was distracted and unable to make a decision. While I was in this confusion, in the middle of the street, Jinn appeared to me, and for the first time I was happy to see him, and he said to me with tension and astonishment, "What is this situation in the middle of the street?" I said, "I don't know." "What do you mean?" He said, Come, let us go to Salam's house." We went to Salam's house and entered the council, which was empty. Then we sat down. I was waiting for an explanation from Dajan about what happened yesterday and the result of the confrontation, but he remained silent, looking at the door, so I asked him and said, "What happened yesterday? And where are my Kureen, Salam's Kureen, and Salam's son? What happened?" Dajan was silent and seemed nervous. Then he said, "I swear I don't know what to tell you, but the previous thing got complicated." Then my heart started beating and I said to him, "Tell me, stop evasiveness, please." He said, "Okay, I'll tell you, but stay calm and don't interrupt me." I said to him with a sigh, "Go ahead, I will not interrupt you."